What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trade Decoded. It is February 5th, 2025, and the market was a little crazy these last couple of days. Today, Jimmy had to be patient. Why? Because, well, I hurt myself yesterday by being impatient, and yeah, so that's a thing. Also, why don't you guys check out my book? You can find it on Amazon. It looks just like this right here, and perhaps pick it up because it's very helpful. If you're learning or trying to learn how to do what we do here every day. I do want to share some things with you. I'm making some changes in the way I do these videos. I'm trying to make them shorter and compile them into one video so that it's helpful for everybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the trades that we found, including the ones that I took, quickly. And then I'm going to let you listen to the 9:25 to 9:30 audio from the room so you can hear my explanations for why the call put lines exist where they do. And then I will let you listen to my live trades, and then I'll do a voiceover during the sped up sections that is happening during the trades or whatever's going on for that matter. This seems to be helpful for everybody. It's shortening the videos, even though it takes me longer to make them, but that's the thing that I'm going to try. If you guys are good with that, please let me know in the comments. If you want a different way, also let me know. I'm trying to work through this to make it the best for everybody. Needs to be informative. I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, and I'm also trying to explain why, which is all of the information I'm trying to cram into these videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts to see what we found today. Now, you're going to see only put lines on the chart today, and the reason for that is because we were opening on our charts between a very wide space between support and resistance levels. So Qs was opening above the pre-market high line, and the next resistance was all the way up at 522.60. SPY was opening above our second line, which was $600.41, and then the next real resistance up was at 601.76. So I didn't feel comfortable buying calls for that reason. If we were going to buy calls, we needed to wait for a pullback to support before we did that. And we didn't find calls a good reason because, well, as you could see here, ADD very quickly started to turn south at the open. And that's the reason I didn't play calls. Now, we didn't close below our put line. So I learned from yesterday. Qs did, so my Qs traders got to take advantage of a break below the put line right down to the next support down, which is all we would be looking for in that particular trade. SPY never got closed below theirs, so thankfully I didn't take that. Again, I was trying to be patient Jimmy today. However, some folks bought calls here, and I had to let them know that, hey, we are coming up to a level of resistance on both charts. This is a time when we normally want to be taking our profits. We're considering it, okay? Now, this dotted line here, this is not a known resistance. This is a calculated resistance. And as you can see, guys, if you watch my videos, these lines work amazingly well. It's very good to learn how to, chart support resistance. And then more importantly, it's even better to how to learn them to, how to use them to teach yourself to make money with them, how to use them to make money. With that said, I was not in, nor did I suggest any calls here, but I recognized that both charts were hitting resistance at the same time. So I wanted people to be aware that normally we take profits when we get there. Now, you are going to hear the live version of this trade here, but I'll very quickly explain it to you if you don't watch my videos through to the end. We were at a very strong resistance here. ADD was still selling off aggressively. SPY got a close below their trend line. It's at this point right here at 950 that I tell everybody, guys, if you're an aggressive trader, this is a spot where I would take puts. Now, again, you'll hear this in real time if you watch the rest of the video because I entered my trade on the very next one. Now, what I was hoping for to take place was that ADD being in our favor, Qs, my hope was that we were going to get through this support. We were at a strong resistance on the Qs. We were at a strong resistance on SPY. SPY broke their uptrend line. At first, we were looking simply from a move from line to support. We wanted to get in a resistance out to support. When you look at ADD, it's still pushing down. We held through it. SPY closed below their support line, which was right here, the put line, and continued to move down, as did the Qs. Now, I was holding on for the Qs to get down to at least the blue line. Once we started wicking through that and ADD was still moving down, I held on a little longer. Second wick, this is where SPY and Qs were touching support at the same time. That's why the white circle's there. I had a stop loss in place, got stopped out somewhere in this candle. That ended up being a 45.9% win for me. We had other people in the community take that trade, and I think one guy got 71%. We had somebody earn 13% on their account. It was a beautiful trade, and it felt really good. After that, we basically had a report. Now, the title of this video is Why We Fear 10 a.m. And the reason we fear 10 a.m. is because if you're holding onto this trade still at 10 o'clock, well, you probably got a little dookie bookie in your underpants with the results of that report. Now, if you held and hoped, you got lucky because it hit resistances up here on both charts and came right back down. You could have made a lot more money. That's not a good thing to do. It's specifically why we do not hold trades, especially winning trades through 10 a.m. reports, okay? Or 10 a.m. in general. But when you have a reports at the same time, which is often, this is what we fear, okay? Your inputs, you're in profit, you take the risk, you end up either stopping out, panicking out, or holding hoping, and the result is not always the same, right? It's the same in that, in this case, you would have been down a whole lot of money. If you held and hoped, you got lucky. If you didn't, you lost a lot of money. But just be aware of that. After that, we found some crazy support level down here on the blue line, which is ultimately where I was hoping we were going to go because of the support here. Now, again, we got stopped out because we were getting close to 10 o'clock, and that just, was a time that we wanted to get out, be safe, protect our money. And then we started to move up. Now, today felt a little weird. ADD started to recover. And that's why we were no longer looking for puts over here. So if you look, ADD starting to move up. You had to wait for Qs to get above this resistance. We needed SPY. SPY was already putting in higher lows, so I was explaining to people this is why you don't want to get into puts. This is more likely to break up than down, and up it went. We hit a very strong resistance area up here. We don't want to trade while we are in a very strong resistance area here. Near it on the Qs, near it on SPY, okay? What you want to wait for is a move above those lines with ADD in your favor, so on and so forth. The next trade that we took or talked about was we were hoping that Qs were going to get below 522.42. They did that. We would hope after that move that they would move down to the next support. They didn't do that. And you know what else would have given you a good indication that you should consider taking yourself out of this trade if it wasn't good enough that we closed back above the trend line? Let's take a look at ADD over here. So even though we're hoping the Qs continue down and get down to this support that we wanted to down here, we broke the trend line, which is always a reason we take puts off the table, and people start considering whether they want to take calls. Now, our call rule is we break the trend line and we take out the most recent resistance, whether it's this one here or this one here. Entry opportunities on both, but more importantly, ADD over here is very, very green at the time, okay? And then the last one we talked about, and it's worth noting, is we finally got above this nasty resistance on Qs. We cleared this resistance on SPY at the same time. ADD was still trending up. Voila, we were looking for line to line, which is why that's there. If you waited for a close above that resistance, we went from line to pink line. Also, SPY and Qs hit the pink line at the same time, closed above that, and we talked one woman in our group all the way through. She got in down here. We got her. She held all the way up to here. Actually, she got out right around 12 o'clock because that's when I was getting off the mic, and I said, hey, if the Qs stall and ADD starts printing red, you're going to want to get out of the trade. So I think she got out before I got off because she didn't want to have to manage that on her own. However, if you stayed in it and you were finding a reason why you should get out of it, well, the Qs did leg up. They had a support level here. We closed below that support level, and then we started to mosey on down at not an aggressive pace, but a pace that you don't want to hold through. And that was it for the trades that we found and the one that I took. Now, I'm going to let you go ahead and watch the live versions of these things, and I'll see you on the other side. And I'm being pleasantly reminded that it's 9:25, and I don't like the pre-market today. I don't like it on the Qs. This is not a comfortable looking chart that makes me happy. I know SPY is moving up. It's moving up slowly. I guess uptrendy. We'll say that. I can't even pick a call scenario on the SPY chart because we're kind of in between this large space where the next resistance up is all the way up at 601.76. We do have a halfway point at 601.09, but I mean, most of the Qs are down, and that doesn't make me feel comfortable about jumping into calls. I'm also going to wait. I'm going to try to wait 5 minutes before I take my first trade. I'm going to try. But as of right this second, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for what we should do as far as a call put scenario. I don't feel comfortable doing either one unless I see some good reason to do it. And right now, I don't see any reason to pick one side or the other. So I can't comfortably say. Now, I mean, I could tell you where a level is that I wouldn't consider buying puts unless we were at least below this support here. I mean, we could say that, and I would be hoping that we come down to the blue line. We got a lot of reports coming today. We got Fed speakers today. I mean, we got all kinds of things. But for the put side, I wouldn't touch them until our normal rule, at least takes place. So if we close below this green trend line, calls come off the table at that point. And you'd want to wait for a break of support before you consider puts. We are trending up, so there's that. Qs are also trending up. So again, draw your trend line. As long as we're above that trend line, you should be interested in taking calls, not puts. And only consider puts if we break trends. So on the Qs, I'd like to be below this line here. I can't put a call line, guys, because we're in a vast space that if it does continue up, I'd be hoping it makes it to 522.60 on the Qs and 601.76 on SPY. Now, when we get to 601 on SPY, just remember that is a whole number that might act as a resistance. So I will have calls prepared simply because we're trending up. And, that's that. So let's try and transfer these lines over to our charts here. 40 seconds till open. So let's see what happens. Let's see what ADD is looking like. Good morning, in a zone. Let's see what happens. Dingy, dingy, dingy. Okay, so in this particular section of the morning, we are recognizing that we are on an uptrend on both charts at the same time. ADD is starting to come down. However, the reason I was being more hesitant is because before we opened, I told everybody that I was going to try and be patient today, wait for a good setup, because yesterday, if you watched my video, you know that I was aggressive on an entry and it ended up costing me money. Now today, if I would have done the same exact thing, very similar. We actually mentioned this during this time on the chart. I said, guys, this is looking a lot like yesterday's chart. I am certainly glad that I decided to wait for a better setup. Now, as the chart moves sideways, ADD keeps drilling down, which is why I am not interested in buying calls at this point. I am waiting for the right reason. Even though the Qs are taking off on a rocket ship to the north, as is SPY, we noticed that contracts were not moving all that great. But more importantly is that the momentum of ADD was going against us. That is like the equivalent of you trying to run your boat at full speed while dragging the anchor behind you. You've got to be careful with that. Now, in this case, we did recognize that the Qs were pulling SPY up. However, the ADD being aggressive as it was to the downside, I just wasn't comfortable getting into that trade. Now, what's happening here is we're recognizing that we're at a very strong level of resistance on Qs and on SPY. And then finally, SPY breaks their trend. And that's when we decide that we are going to go ahead and aggressively take an entry. Again, ADD is moving down. Qs are at resistance. SPY breaks the uptrend. All good reasons to consider it, and exactly what we did. So here you get to watch it how it goes down. Now my super aggressive traders out there are looking at this saying, Jimmy, ADD is red and Qs are at resistance. Why don't we take puts up here and we'll just take that down to where the Qs, hit their trend line? That's a super aggressive entry. And if I was not on the microphone, probably one I would comfortably take. I think I'm going to take this. It's going to pay. It's going to pay. Look, see, you're welcome. All right, well, now we're officially in the trade. And what we're hoping for is that the Qs can get below that orange dotted line. Once they close below it, we need to make sure that that stays as resistance. If it does, we're safe in the trade. On top of that, ADD was still trending down. So we were hoping that the Qs would get down to the original put line. They got there, tried to hold on a little more because ADD was still drilling down. SPY kept coming down, wanted SPY to the blue line that has the alert on it. Ultimately, both charts ended up on support at the same time. So we put our stop losses in. Plus 10 o'clock was coming. 10 o'clock is not a good time to hold a winning trade, as you're about to see. So be aware of that. 10 o'clock is not a good thing. We got 1 minute or 46 seconds. I got stopped out as well. I don't know exactly what time, but I just seen the vibrations. Do. Somewhere on that candle right there. And yeah, so congrats to you. Good job, Isaiah. 71% on that. What time did you get in, Isaiah? That was a banger. That was a banger-ade. Okay, guys, you got 13 seconds to 10 o'clock. I would not advise holding this trade through that unless, and I know you are, if you didn't take your profits somewhere down here, you're holding in this, hoping that it pushes down and gives you back what you once had. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Hope nobody got stuck with their pants down on that one. My goodness. My goodness. That is dirty. 13% on the account. Good job. Good job, guys. Oh, thank God. I needed that. I don't know where it goes from here. At this point, I'm just happy to have taken advantage of that move to the downside. And I'm glad I had a stop loss in place because this candle right here, this situation, would have me holding and hoping if I was still in puts. All right, well, there you have it, folks. In future videos, I won't be explaining that I'm going to be making changes to the videos, so we'll be able to cut out probably about 3 or 4 additional minutes on this. I'm trying to squeeze these things down to be about 15-minute videos. 10 to 15 minutes, depends on what's really going on. But if anything, just let me know what your preference is down below, and I will do my best to try and find what works best for the majority. Other than that, I hope you guys found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, we'd love to have you. There are links down below. And yeah, we have a good time in there. I'm sharing with you everything that we do in there. And hopefully you can learn from these videos. And if you don't, then hopefully you jump in and learn from us in real time. Also, please consider buying my book. Again, this is what it looks like right here. And yeah, hope you all had a fantastic day. Till tomorrow, I love you. See you.